was like two people said that about shits and giggles, but nonetheless.
Shits and giggles coming soon.
Wait, with webcam. Hello, everybody. Hi, guys. Let me make sure I have Discord on here, which it looks like I don't. So let me drop it in here, so you guys can actually hear my my two co-commentators. This is the Let's Talk CAW Shop Podcast. I am Triple Beat. Joining me on these podcasts are going to be Against All Odds and
Hello,
Young
everybody.
Samurai.
I'm Commentator Odds Cornet.
And Samurai. Samurai.
So, I was waiting for Odds to be done talking.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, he just did a quick one, but anyway. Oh, that sounded bad. Anyway, hey TJ, what's going on?
Professionals.
Yes, we're totally professionals. No, we're not. Anyway, welcome to the stream. The chat box here. Let me move it over a little bit so everybody can.
Should we introduce the third guy? The third guy in this team.
Yes, let's introduce our third person on this panel, Kyle Young.
I am. It's me.
It's Kyle Young.
The Order SCD, even though the show is very much inconsistent.
Hey,
sorry.
it's all right. No worries. Odds is laughing his ass off right now. I can hear him. He's like, I am not.
At least I admit my faults, damn it.
Yeah, at least I admit it's all right. It's all right. This is the Let's Talk CAW Shop Podcast.
Ain't the only show that's ever had backup problems.
Yeah. All right. So we're actually gonna start with introductions today. I'll go ahead and go first. Give you guys a little bit of background on myself and what I do. So I run a federation called Octane Professional Wrestling. I'll go ahead and show you some of my arenas because I have my game open. So I run a little federation called Octane Pro Wrestling. Arena edit. Sorry, I'm horrible at this. Bring back the Young Samurai show. Oh, TJ wants the Young Samurai show back.
Oh! That show is cringe!
I now need to see this. TJ, please link that show to me. I would love to see what this Young Samurai show is.
Please no. Please no.
Anyway, I run a CAW federation called Octane Live. I do a lot of edited stuff, edited content. So I make stuff in Share Factory, create the stories myself, run them on my channel, and that's kind of my thing. I have a YouTube channel here on Twitch. On Twitch and on YouTube, which if you're here, then you obviously can see that. I do a mixture of videos and live stuff. I'm experimenting with a mixture of live and edited matches now that I'm on PC. Bill against Samurai. What's going on, Brian? How you doing? So, out of character today. I run this federation. I've got a roster of about 100 people, and I just try and run stories with them and exchange titles, that kind of stuff. It's fun. It's all in fun for me, and I enjoy it. Next, we're going to go to... We're going to keep going in the same circle we've been going in, so Odds, you're up. Give everybody an introduction. Let them all know who you are.
Hello, I am as they say, the commentator Odds Cornet, but outside of the commentary booth, I'm just Odds, or as other people over the years have known me as, the voice of Chris Knight. I've been around this hobby for nearly 15 years, 13 going on 14 years in this hobby. I've been in CCL, I've been in If I remember the damn name, I think it's DCA. I've been damn near everywhere in this hobby. I've done quite a lot, and I'm currently running my show, CPW, Creation Professional Wrestling. Pretty much taking everything that I've learned over the years with doing the old Raw X Wrestling. Back in the PS3 days with Story Designer, and pretty much learning from that and making the current show that I'm doing right now.
All right, and that takes us to the third member on our panel, Samurai. Samurai, give everybody a little... Oh, wait, you're not done yet?
The youngin of the panel.
Oh, the young and the youngest member of the panel, young Samurai.
I know.
Kyle, take it away.
Commentary for SCD or for CPW, you all know me as Brandon Wilson, Mr. Samurai, whatever the hell you want to call me, but for here, I'm just Kyle, the owner, pretty much, of Second City Dojo, which originally was called LPW, which before that was, as TJ mentioned earlier in the chat, freaking Young Samurai Show. That was the cringiest name I've ever had.
Wait, didn't you have, the business or a BoJack Horseman with, a purple or a blue head or something like that? You had a blue horse on your show, didn't you?
Something like that, but I'll put it this way. My show was originally just, I originally ran on 2K17, where literally it was just me grabbing a bunch of calls off of CC, either from friends or from 60 Sean, because I was an impressionable teenager, and I thought, okay, let me try to make something like N60 Sean. Dumbass.
Hey, man. Teach their own. Keep going.
It was literally just a combination of my own creations, which at the time was just my own call, Young Samurai team, who then evolved into Kyle Young. I also had Remnant, Bruce Kendrick, also known as Bruce the Dude. 20 for the Win, who's no longer really running a show. He's just more or less in call, for shits and giggles. Mobmen, most of the people you've seen around my channel.
Okay.
And essentially evolved the show into the Young Samurai Show because I think I needed to do something as a show to contend with my buddy at the time, Magnum, who was doing IPCW. We were doing a little bit of a rivalry thing between a faction of mine and a faction of his.
Okay.
The show spawned into brands, which was literally just Burning Brawl and Septic Showdown, which, again, was just two things that I really liked. I turned them into brands, which was Jacksepticeye, and I think I based this one off of Yang Xiaolong from Ruby.
Okay. Cool. All right.
That went on. LPW then became a thing when I was just because I think it was Young Samurai Show. There was the Samurai Wrestling Federation. Unfortunately, then when I shared initials of a company with a friend of mine, I say a friend of mine, but I knew over on, I forget what it was. It was like Supreme Wrestling Federation, I think it was. He gave me the logo for Legion Professional Wrestling. I ran with it for a while. And then I decided to essentially just change it to something that might fit me better, which was the Second City Dojo, which I've been running with to this day.
It's a awesome show.
It's basically, I'm going to say technically 3 brands, but 2 of them basically go hand in hand. The other one just on its own. Adrenaline, Underground, and then Ring of Fire.
And here they are.
That is a long-winded introduction to the mind of the laziest man in this freaking call.
So...
there's been lazier.
So that's what I said in this call, so...
Well, so my next question for you guys, and I'll go ahead and start on this.
And yes, folks, with future podcasts, we will be bringing on guests.
We'll be bringing on guests, and we'll have a lot more structure in our future podcast. Hey, Logan, how you doing?
Yo, Logan.
So my next question that I have for you guys is, what got you into doing this, putting on matches, making the arenas, running your shows? Was it a specific?
I pretty much have the longest tail out of everybody here. So since I've been around for like 13 years,
we'll let you go first.
The first CAW show that I ever saw was a CAW show by the name of NGW on YouTube. You could probably still find it. That was the first show that I ever saw. I fell in love with the idea of this hobby, which at the time was bringing characters from video games, movies, whatever, and putting it into a wrestling context. I'm a big wrestling fan. That sounds like a good idea. So I went back and saw what the origin of this hobby was, or what is considered one of the first leagues, to QCAW, and I decided to try to learn everything I can about this hobby because it fascinated the living hell out of me. And I always thought about doing a show, never had the equipment. So back in the old PS3 days, when they created Story Designer, I decided to be the first CAW league on Story Designer and on CC. Which was an interesting concept because some people in that space did not know what the hell I was doing. And I based my show off of a line that Kurt Angle said in SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 when he said Raw, real actual wrestling. And that's where I got the name of the show, Raw, Real Actual Wrestling. Back in the old PS3 days. So I did that as long as Story Designer was around. Long story short, too late. Got burnt out from that. Left that. Went on to being a part of CCL. God rest Eddie's soul. One of the nicest and easiest talking to people I've ever talked to. But I was young and still haven't got my feet wet in this hobby, so I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And again, fast forward even more. At some point, I decided, you know what? I'm starting to get the itch again. Let's actually bring back a show. And I'm seeing what Q's doing. I'm seeing what Monk's doing. I'm seeing what Kimura taught them, and I'm like, yeah. If I figure out this Story Designer, if I figure out this Share Factory, it'd be like Story Designer. So I'd be back in business. Took a little while to figure it out, but that's how I got to where I am now. But how I started was just finding it randomly on YouTube. Finding a random league on YouTube.
Okay. That's actually really cool. My story is a lot different than that. I didn't really get into this hobby until maybe 5 years ago. I had a federation in on the PlayStation, but I'd only do like 1 or 2 shows. I didn't do very much back then. I made 1 or 2 shows in Story Designer and uploaded them. But I was also working full time. I was in school full time, so I didn't really have a lot of time to really put time into it. So I would do maybe 1 or 2 shows, and that was that, and I would keep it moving. But I came across some of the stuff that Monk was doing on YouTube, and saw that you could put that stuff on YouTube, like from PlayStation. You could do that. I had no idea you could even do that up until about 5 years ago, and then I saw one of Q's streams, and I saw, I think it was Defiance in 2018. I think that was the night that Delvin fought Phoenix and lost the.
I believe if it was 2018, then that more than likely was the case.
It was like November of 2018, literally like 5 years ago, when Delvin lost to Phoenix and dropped the World Cruiserweight title. And before then, I was just doing stuff on my own. I didn't really care about Story Designer. I was doing it all in universe mode. I would play the stories out myself. It was all WWE based, and I made a Octane World Cruiserweight Championship. And the idea for Octane was it's supposed to be a cruiserweight company. And this is back in 2K14, or 2K12 actually, or WWE 12, not 2K12. So that's when my show started, but it never aired until 2018.
Hey Chase, hey Honeycombs.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome in.
I may or may not have something to link.
Hey, the more the merrier.
Yeah.
But that's how I got my start, just running shows for fun. Why isn't this live? Okay.
And then Delvin somehow ran into Phoenix.
Yep, Delvin ran into Phoenix, and that's honestly what got me. That was that moment that really got me into doing this. Like,
yeah,
I want to do something now. So I had the idea. Well, it was for his hair. So the first stream I did, and I should find a clip of this and play it on one of our next podcast. Yeah. Me literally going in and removing Delvin's hair. Now, I had people in the chat. You guys had just finished the show. You were all tired. I was tired. Bad timing. I've learned that now. Now, if I'm tired, it's been a long day, and I have a stream, I'll send a message on X or wherever and to all my socials and just pretty much say, hey guys, no stream today. It's been a long day. I'm not feeling that well. We'll do one another day. Like, I've learned. But I didn't know that back then. I was so excited to do it. And it wasn't bad, but...
And also, this was 2018, so we had all of us had a completely different mindset.
Everybody was burnt out. Everybody was burnt out at that point, and I had no idea.
Just to caveat all that, to make this long story really short, we just been through a lot of YouTube drama, a lot of PlayStation drama, and some of the things that we like to do for fun to get away from all that was just marathon stream.
Yep.
But at this point, we didn't realize how burnt out we were going to be, and we ended up being so burnt out that those marathon streams ended up being a curse, not a help.
And also, Honeycomb and Chase, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for stopping by. Go on, Kyle. Sorry.
The less we say about Odds' version of Nuclear Winter, the better.
Nuclear Winter is a whole complete story on its own.
Yeah, that's its own podcast. We'll get there.
That's
in the future.
Story. We'll get there.
We will get to the marathon streaming portion at some point, but I didn't know you guys were doing that, right? So I went into my first show. I was exhausted. I was like, I don't even know if I want to do this. I didn't have much like faith in myself. I don't know. I didn't have a lot of confidence back then when I started. And that's what held me back for so long. That's what kept me until 2018 to do my first show. I was so afraid to do that I didn't do it. And I'm so glad that I did, because now I'm here. And I really enjoy what I do with the storylines and whatnot. And I went to Odds the first time.
As you found out later, we were all going through shit.
Yep.
But that's a different podcast.
Yeah, exactly. That's a mental health podcast. But I went to Odds. I ended up going to you, I think, and asking about Share Factory because I wanted to learn Share Factory. I think you told me just go in and play around with it. You'll figure it out, because Oh,
yeah. At the time, and still, I'm not that good of a freaking teacher.
yeah.
So I think eventually you went into a share play with me, and I showed you some things. But my opening line was, "Not a good teacher." But you figure it out.
I think what you actually did was you linked me to one of Q's streams, because Q actually did a stream about Share Factory.
I think he just got done doing at the time, just got done doing a stream showcasing
how he did what he did. So
how he did what he did.
You sent me that, and I went, "Oh, that's how he does that." Because I wanted to do an edited show like that. Like, I wanted to do an edited show like a BMH or like a CPW, because I had seen what Monk had done with his edited shows. I had seen what Q had done with his edited shows, and I had seen what you had done with yours. And I was like, I want to do something like that. I have a PlayStation. I don't have a computer that's powerful enough to do anything. This is back then. This is 5 years ago. I don't have a computer that's powerful enough to do this.
If this was early 2009, I wasn't doing as many Share Factory shows as I would.
Yeah. So you had taken time and you had told me, go talk to Q, or go watch this video. Not go talk to Q, but go watch this video. So I did, and that's how I started. That's how I got my start. And I did all Share Factory stuff for the first entire season. I think it was all done in Share Factory. I was doing a show maybe once a week, so they weren't perfect, but I was getting shows out. And I took a little bit of time off because over the pandemic I had to focus on work and whatnot. But ever since, I've been back and I've been running my shows, and it's been a blast, and it's a ton of fun. I love making my own characters and booking them, and then adding everybody else's characters. Something about me you guys don't know, or a lot of you probably don't know, is I have 50 of my own characters. Which is kind of crazy, but I'm going to try and cut back next year so there's more room on the roster. Because right now I'm running into an issue where I have 100 spots. And I have maybe three that are available right now for any type of story I want to run. Just like, But anyway, enough about me. Kyle, what was your who was that deciding factor that made you decide you wanted to be doing this?
Yeah, Youngin, how did you start?
Okay, so I think I technically mentioned this earlier, but part of that reasoning was N60 Sean, a guy over on YouTube that pretty much was just doing a bunch of like YouTubers, wrestling and shit like that. The whole thing with that was like, I was like, oh, this thing's cool. And then I think for my birthday one year, I got myself a copy of 2K15 because I was young and dumb and thought, oh, doesn't matter which game it is, I can just access creations or whatever it is. Turns out you had to have 2K17 or whatever the current game was to actually play it.
My condolences for having 2K15.
I would rather have 16.
I think I ran like one tournament where I just created a few of my friends' characters on 2K. And then essentially after that, I think at one point I was just like, okay, you know what? I don't want this. I need 2K17, so I just went to go to GameStop, turned in 2K15, got 2K17. Went back home, made my call, and basically just did my own thing from there. But most of my streams, I think, I'll put it this way. For my show, at first, it was like pre-recorded, where I just basically used Share Factory because I didn't understand that you could import music.
Yeah.
But pretty much what happened was, I think at first I was just streaming. I was just basically pre-recording it and using Share Factory. But then I was just like, you know what? If I'm going to do a show, I'm just gonna use Universe mode, because I think I'd seen somebody. I'll say somebody, but I don't know if I really should mention their name, because I don't know where they are. I don't know if they're even around anymore.
That's okay.
Odds you'll know exactly who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was doing streams at one point, so I thought, okay, I could probably just do that.
And that's where I met you.
Yeah, you met me through that guy.
Is through that guy's podcast.
Oh wow!
Through his live streams, through his shows, because I remember run things on there. I also was on Mob's show because I think he grabbed my call because of he grabbed my call because I think our calls had interacted like once on N60 Sean when it was like one of the few times that I was actually lucky enough to be on there. I think his call limited mine. He saw my call. He's like, "Hey, do you want? Let me just download your call. I'll put you on my stuff." I'm like, "Sure." I know him through that. I also got to know, say Jane, Demon Queen, whatever you want to know her as. Got to know her through him. And I also got to know Remnant through not through him, but through a friend of ours, Skellies, when he was running the Skellies fan show.
Okay.
Basically, another one of the N60 Sean like alumni, pretty much. I think I did like live streaming up until like I've been like went on my phone to look it up to make sure I knew what I was talking about. First time I actually went back to pre-recording stuff and like having like edited music and stuff like that was December 31st, 2019. So almost 4 years to the day.
There is nothing wrong with hitting that go live button. Hell, that's what I did today for half of the matches.
That's what I did for all of CPW first year in 2K18.
Nuclear Winter was done live too. Again, another show.
For my detriments.
All I have to say, folks, is if you haven't seen it, I'm gonna link it before that podcast. I'm gonna link it.
Before we go in,
we'll say
on my YouTube
that freaking gosh dang thing of length of shows. Heaven forbid that'll be a story in and of itself.
It's an 8-hour stream that's nothing but tournaments. I'm linking it so everybody can see it ahead of time.
To finish what I was saying, like I think what I had done was every pay-per-view I pre-recorded. I was doing everything else live because I think I was still in high school or in college at the time. I forget which one it was. And I were both in college, I think. Pretty much, I was basically just doing them live, even though I'm pretty sure I even annoyed my parents with the fact that I was being loud. Still do. But I think at some point during, I think it was season 2, I switched over to basically just pre-recording the episode and pretty much just like just doing it that way.
Okay.
And this is the season 3 is the first season I've actually decided, yeah, fuck it, we're just gonna go full pre-recorded.
Hey,
and so far it's been one of the worst mistakes I've ever made.
That's why I've been telling people, like, if you don't have the time, do it live. Like,
The problem I find is that I like to tell the story I want to tell. I don't want to be. I don't want to be like. Sorry.
No, go on. It's fine. I'll let you finish.
I don't want to like leave things up to chance and then pretty much like it ruins the story I wanted to tell. Like I think I wanted to tell a story where someone was like an undefeated guy for a while, and then Mob decides to fucking beat him.
Okay.
And to make it funnier, it was the Mr. Rogers Mob. When Mob had gotten inspired by Bray Wyatt's feed character and went, I want to try that.
Okay.
Still one of the most fun storylines we ever did.
Well, what I would do in that case is have those pick one show, like the show that you want to have the most control over, pick that and have that be your edited show. And that one can happen whenever you're ready, right? But also have a live roster as well, so you can keep shows going and you can have your live roster actively fighting. So if you have someone who's supposed to be undefeated, they're on your edited show, you're not touching them. You know, they're on the edited show. That's one of the things that I experimented with last season. Was I had a show, Octane Live. It was all edited. And then I had Galaxy Pro, which was my live show. So anything could happen on Galaxy. I had no control over it. Whatever.
You've experimented with more shows than anybody has done.
Yeah.
You've experimented with 10 different shows that would last 10 different years, and you've ran through them in like 3.
Yep. I've had my number of shows on my thing, and it's really hard to put it all together. And I'm trying to put all the pieces together now, and I'm trying to formulate a better universe. But I have all these like branches in my show.
And then your universe decides to be a heel verse.
Yep, we have the heel verse right now. That's what's
whatever
currently.
reason.
2023 has decided to turn everybody heel on the show. I mean,
Baby faces. Oh, they're distracting the referee.
the entire Young Clan are heels right now on my show. For some weird reason, the entire Young Clan are heels. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It's really funny. I tried, and I'll try and book them.
I'm waiting for a comment from either Rage or Chase from them hearing that if they're still here.
Yeah. That's all I can say is my universe has turned. They turned Kyle Young heel. They turned Akira Young heel. They turned Alex Young heel. The only one they haven't turned heel is Samantha, but that's because she's in 22. She's the only one that's safe.
Leon, but you're forgetting Leon, but still.
Oh yeah, Leon. No, they actually turned Leon heel at 1.2. When the match happened, I knew you were lurking, so I commented like nothing happened.
I freaking did it!
I told you.
Oh man! All right, so
But at the same time, live shows can also be interesting because that's what led to American Phoenix getting to the spot where he is now. Because
we got a year's worth of content off of that.
I'm going to be quick with this because I've told the story in other places. But American Phoenix was before going into SPW Defiance. If Phoenix were to have lost that match, Phoenix would have been deleted. I was on the road to deleting American Phoenix because he wasn't working. But he won. Next match, I believe the rematch was Delvin's hair was on the line. Phoenix still won.
Actually, that was the first match. He won.
I believe the tables match.
The tables match was the first match. They went into that match. It was a tables match between Delvin and Phoenix. Iron Man 30-minute tables match. I remember this because I was driving home, and I had my phone on. On Monk's channel, listening to it because I was sitting in traffic driving home, listening to this match. And Seattle traffic right after a UW football game. My cousin was playing for the University of Washington at the time, and I went to go see one of his last games. And I get in the car. I turn my phone on just in time for the match, ironically. I pull out into traffic. I'm sitting in traffic, heading home, and I'm hearing, and Phoenix put Delvin through another table. I'm like, okay, he's going to put Phoenix to a table. I'll be fine. And he put him through another table. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And Monk's going off because, Monk, when he streams, is at 100, right? So yeah. He's at 100, like, hyped that Phoenix is putting Delvin through a table. I can hear odds. I didn't know you very well at the time, but now I go back and I watch and I hear you in the back of your mind going, come on, Phoenix, don't win this match, because you were going to fire the guy after this.
Yes, because I was about to delete him. I was like, please do not. I have so many ideas of characters that can replace you. Please do not win. Please do not win. Please do not win, you fucking bastard.
And he won. and ironically, he is now your top guy. He is now your biggest main eventer. He is now a pain in Q's ass. on BMH.
Yeah, because
and
fast forward, when I started doing my shows live, edited, I noticed we were already doing Delvin versus Phoenix, but Delvin, again, I'm going to make this quick because I've told this story elsewhere.
Well, that's fine.
And at plenty other places. Phoenix and Delvin wasn't working. It was not working. The angle was not working. So I was like, okay. At the time, I don't know Beetle that well. But from what I'm seeing, Delvin can't be a heel to save his life. Or at least at this point.
I didn't know how to book a heel.
From Chris Knight, I know how to be a heel. Let me turn American Phoenix heel. Let me figure out some type of way to make him heel, and I can and we can somehow flip the script, and maybe I could save the angle. My heavens, I did not realize I was going to save the angle for the rest of eternity, where these two motherfuckers were going to fight for the rest of time.
Hell, that season, they weren't just on Octane and they weren't just on CPW, they were also on ISA. And they were fighting for both the Octane Cruiserweight World Championship and the ISA Cruiserweight Championship in the same season. And but
ISA stuff started up. ISA stuff started up
at the end of
right
the year.
After we just got done with like a years long storyline, and we thought it had culminated, and we were like, okay, fine, we're good.
Actually, it was going on at the same time.
Good. And then ISA started up, and he's like, I want American Phoenix and Delvin. I'm like, oh,
son of a bitch.
Well, it was going on.
Still gonna go on forever.
It was going on at the same time.
Yep, and if you've seen BMH, this damn thing keeps going.
Yep. And
this feud has been going for 5 years. It is like what Dusty said to Oli. It will never be over. It will never be over.
5 years later,
will never stop.
They took a break.
It'll end when one of you retires.
They took a break. They took a break going at each other last year. Like that was the only. Last year was the only. Well, actually, no, they went at each other last year too, because the main event of High Octane.
At each other every damn year.
Even though they weren't fighting directly, the main event of High Octane 5 was Delvin versus Freedom's Reign in that Highway to Hell match. And for those who don't know what Highway to Hell match is, it's a Hell in a Cell last man standing match. And I think it ended.
Yeah, it all started with Freedom's Reign attacking Delvin at Bound for Success to cost him the world title against American Phoenix.
Yep. Another time where we branched our stories. For those who don't know, I did some story branching with Odds. We've done cross game things. This championship right here is the one that we were talking about that started that whole Delvin Phoenix feud. This is the match that never ends. Yeah, pretty much.
It's the feud that never ends. Every single time I now see a Phoenix Delvin feud, the never ending story song gets stuck in my head. It's the never ending story. Da, 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 da.
But they're so good in the ring against each other. That's the funny part.
I know. That's the best
it doesn't
part.
matter. It doesn't matter. Anytime those two face off in a ring, you could put them. It doesn't matter. Put those two against each other. You're gonna get a 5-star match. It's like Jin and Taipan. Put those two in the ring together. You're getting a 5-star match.
Yeah, those are a little different though. Those were very, when I did Jen versus Taipan, the best out of 7, their matches were very technical. Like if you very much like a wrestling type MMA style, their matches would really interest you because one move could always just end the match within an instant.
Yeah. They'll give you a good 7 to 10 minute match. Those two will. And you could
10, sometimes 5.
sometimes 5. But it'll be good. It'll be back and forth, and then it'll just be over. But it'll be good. Speaking of crossovers, Kyle, reaching out to both of you now. You guys both recently did a crossover at the end of 2K19, heading into 22. Worlds collide.
Well, I bit longer in 19, but that's another story for another time.
Yeah, worlds collide.
What we thought was going to be both of our ends in 2K19.
Yes, well, you guys thought.
Better is I think I was waiting to go into 22 anyways, and then I made the mistake of not continuing to run stuff on 19.
And then the game came out, and we found out how hard it was to make cause.
It was like it was a process to remake my cause, and given the fact that I have like over 40 of them, some are tag teams, some are not. It's like, oh yeah, this is gonna be bad.
Yeah.
So what led into that show? Like what?
I think it was an idea that came from me, I think, and I pitched it to Odds, thinking, hey, why don't we do a little crossover, see what happens? And he's like, yeah, we can see what happens.
Yeah, I've always loved crossovers. I've always wanted to do crossovers.
I think from what I remember, we were just like spending time like trying to figure out like the booking and shit like that for that entire show, where it's like, because we both were recording like a lot of our matches, because I think we split the workload in half. Which I think you shuffled like the big like 6-man and like 8-man tag matches to me, because you were like, thanks.
No, I actually said I could do them, but I could do them, but you wanted to do them if I remember correctly.
I think I asked like, do you want to do either of them? You said, nah, no. I don't remember which way it was, but I ended up recording.
The only thing I do remember is, my heavens, if we weren't the complete polar opposites during this entire thing, I'm over here. If the house is on fire and I'm playing cards, I'm like, well, this will be the last hand. And Samurai's over here running with freaking buckets of water, like a chicken with his head cut off.
I am like constantly on everything, and you're just like,
yeah, constantly messaging me with ideas and stuff, and I'm just like, go with the flow.
I think at some point we just kind of we had to figure out who was winning each match, because otherwise it was like.
That was easy for me. The amount of matches that we had, my idea was split them down the middle. Have neither side win, neither side lose. It's a tie. Just like any crossover with an actual wrestling promotion would do. Neither promotion is better. It's one side wins one half, the other side wins the other half.
That's the best way to do it too.
Yeah,
it really is.
Again, I think I messaged you at one point, because I still was recording those matches, and I'm like, I think I was regretting my entire life trying to figure out those two big ass tag matches. I still love the freaking 8-man tag one, because the story of the match was just basically like Weapon X. They're all trusting each other to tag each other in. But it just left to the side until the last, 5 minutes. Which was literally...
Yeah, I believe the female group was... I think if I remember correctly, the female group was up against the NGC. And guess who aren't around anymore?
The NGC?
Ironically enough.
Yeah, ironically, as people would find out later, the NGC would implode, which by the way, hint, that storyline had been around even since then. I'd had that entire idea of what would happen later, known as the fall of the NGC. That entire thing had been already. This was in January. That storyline had already been that storyline was already getting worked in my head by the same point. So I already knew that year was the end of the NGC, and I was going to eventually do it.
Okay.
That's how far some angles go in my head before they actually happen.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I know who's for 2 belts. I have 2 belts that are storyline belts, and I know who's getting them when the time comes. Like, I've already got it mapped out, but it's just those 2 belts. Everything else is open. I am switching to a live universe format, and a lot of the other belts are going to be wide open. I'm actually getting ready.
I only make belts a storyline belt when the time is right and when the time is necessary. So you never know what belt will become a storyline belt until that storyline really starts going.
Yeah. Well, I'm playing the.
No one knew what was going to happen when Nathan won the global championship. They just thought, "Oh, I was taking the belt off of Jay Benton to get him into another division."
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's everyone know that what was going to happen in the future.
Oh,
the angle that is still going on.
Hello, Wilson Payne.
All I'll say is go back and watch Redemption Night 1 from this season, and that opening match, and his story is not done.
Yeah.
No, not saying who, but his story isn't done. Like, he still has to quote unquote end the story. Ironically, pulling a Cody Rhodes quote.
Yes, be Cody Rhodes.
Just like somebody else will do it at this year's WrestleMania, but that's another topic for another time.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
this isn't the WWE Fantasy Booking Podcast. This is
no.
Let's Talk CAW Shop.
Well, speaking of big CAW shows coming up, if you guys don't mind, I know I have High Octane coming up, but right after it, I'm going into a big 3-month tournament, the Champions Cup, and I have the arena on display right now, so you guys can see it. That's going to be coming up in January, so I'll be announcing more information about that when I get to it.
Yeah.
But I guess we could go ahead and end with one last little segment or bit on this, and that is going to be the topic of building suspense in storylines. So I'd like each of you to come up with or think about one storyline that you've done in the past, that you've booked, where you built suspense. So whoever wants to start can start, but I'd say
the clip that I sent you was Delvin versus Phoenix.
Right.
But the main thing is just Phoenix. Since Phoenix has been heel, the suspense of what he's going to do has been building, and that's been the point. Building to the point where him taking off his mask, him winning the Ladder to Glory match, cashing in and winning the world title, him losing to Delvin, him getting Freedom's Reign, him doing the freaking stupid video where he says, "My kingdom will come again."
Yes.
All of it led to what I think is his most perfect run. I don't know if anyone else agrees, but his perfect run, the 302-day reign of American Phoenix, the nearly year-long reign as world champion, when he was dubbing himself the Belt Connoisseur.
I actually think that was one of the funnest storylines that you've ever done. It put him over as a heel because the audience hated his guts. Like, if you guys want to see a chat go nuclear on a character, more so than even Delvin. Delvin's getting a lot of heat right now, so I'm doing a good job. But if you want to see an audience go off on a heel, like go off on a bad guy, even more so than Rex skits in LTD, Phoenix was drawing major heat. Like, everybody in the audience.
At the start, after Delvin, I knew I had to pick somebody that the crowd was going to like, that they would have killed to have take the title from Phoenix. And if you see the storyline, the year's storyline, maybe you can argue that he should have. But I put him up against Kyle Young. 3 matches. Phoenix somehow found a way to sneak his way out of all 3 matches with the victory.
There's a reason I'm smiling right now.
Because you're the one that ended up basically giving Kyle the belt.
I gave him the belt. I gave him his comeuppance in that storyline eventually, which is kind of funny.
Phoenix, that entire angle with Phoenix as a heel is probably one of the funnest I ever done, because no one knew when Phoenix was going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
I think they started to see him start crowing about how many days he's been as champion. So I think then people are starting saying, his clock's about to run out.
Yep. Well,
which gave me an opportunity to boost up another guy that was my newcomer, my main event replacement, one of my main event replacements for Chris. Heaven forbid there's a pattern here of people that are supposed to take Chris's
spot
torch, which was Wilson Hammond. No one knew any of the building that I did for Wilson Hammond back in the PS3 days, which is one of the things I had to learn. That yes, I knew those storylines,
but they didn't.
But that doesn't mean everybody watching did, because none of them were around in the PS3 era. So I had to give people a reason to care about Hammett, which led to what I want, which led to getting rid of his cape, getting rid of the thing that's been with Hammett since his debut, and giving the cape a backstory, giving you a reason to give a rat's ass that he just lost something, and want to see this babyface beat the American Phoenix, not just I want to see somebody beat the American Phoenix.
No, I wanted to see Hammett tear him apart.
It's just, Phoenix is doing something personal for him. Let's see Wilson get his revenge.
Exactly.
And
I gave new people reasons to say, oh, that's who Hammett is. I like this guy. I want to see him win.
Well, and Hammett,
because no one knew him at that point. People like me and Monk that were
around for
Monk, my biggest diehard fan of the old Raw Relax Wrestling stuff, that still wants me to do a Raw Relax Wrestling reunion show at some point. He knew Hammett's history, but the rest of the audience didn't.
I mean,
I had to reintroduce him.
You half did that by having Danny Phantom actually walk out and have a match on one of your major shows.
That was my interpretation. That was my interpretation of doing a reunion show, because there was no way in hell I was ever going to do a full reunion show. Because heaven forbid, I would have to go back and try to remember every single thing that I ever gave any character that was on that was on that show, and that's a completely different roster. And my heavens, my brain was not ready for that. So I just did one Raw Wrestling show. Finish an angle that was not done in the Raw Wrestling days, and just be done with it.
Yeah,
and just say there's your little tribute to the past. Now let's move on to the future, and that moved on to 2020, which heaven forbid 2020 could be an entire podcast in and of itself, from everything around it to the shows.
Yep, that'll be a fun one. Samurai, go ahead and give us an example of how you've built suspense in a storyline.
Okay, so the clip I sent you was essentially a little like a little segment from after a match that I had to ask Odds to help me out with, because at the time I did not have 2 controllers, so I could not do the segment the way I wanted to.
Okay.
Which was basically because I taken the idea from ECW, the Singapore caning match, which is when the loser gets whacked with a kendo stick on the back about 10 or so times.
Okay.
Which, if anybody wants to know the reason for the name of Singapore Cane, just look it up. It's not good. It's what does the kids say now? Problematic.
It's problematic, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But pretty much the story was, I had started it at the end of the year before's Ring of the Sky, which was pretty much like I'll have just come off the match with his son Leon. They had their feud finished up. This new person's rolled up and he's just attacked Kyle. The fuck is it? It's Akira's brother, Takahiro, a guy who does not like Kyle. I basically had to tell the story back when Kyle was training under Akira's dad, pretty much all this other stuff. Takahiro had tried to kill him.
Jeez.
I say try with because essentially, obviously, he failed.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, okay, I want to do the story.
You killed my brother.
Essentially, I did the story where pretty much I have Kyle and Takahiro. They're still kind of butting heads. They finally get that first matchup. Takahiro wins via. I think I remember in the clip. The low blow is just essentially the end of the match.
Mm-hmm.
It's a low blow. Takahiro hits his finisher, wins. He gets the kendo stick, and essentially the idea is that now he's whacking Kyle, but Kyle's essentially still egging him on to do it more and harder, etc., etc. Essentially, I'm just trying to basically put like some stuff on Kyle that basically where it's like this feud's not going to end because Takahiro's obviously
balls a lot.
What's up?
From him and American Phoenix, Kyle's been hitting the balls a lot.
Yep. The whole thing is
that man. It's a surprise he has 2 kids.
The idea I had in mind with the feud was pretty much like the Singapore King. Like, yes, Takahiro won. Yes, he managed to hit Kyle with the kendo stick, but Kyle didn't really back down. So essentially, they're still gonna fight. They're gonna keep going a little further.
Yeah.
So I think I built that up to a 3 stages of Hell match, which I think it was it. It wasn't Highway to Hell. I think it was like Judgment Day. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, like when when the feud actually blew off. But the whole thing is pretty much like we're just trying to build like on shows, on promos, just basically getting these two to basically keep butting heads. Where pretty much Takahiro, like he wants to basically shut Kyle up for good. And Kyle just wants to basically get this guy to leave him alone.
Yeah. Okay.
That was the first example I could come up with. Because,
hey, it's an example. I mean, we're spitballing right now. We were gonna have an entire show ready 100% for you guys, but work has been so crazy for me that I've been really tired when I get home, and I'm trying to set up that final show. So I still have to finish recording a couple matches and throw them together. So that's my main focus right now, is getting High Octane done and over with. After that, though, I'll be putting more time into this and actually setting time aside to set these podcasts up a little bit more better. I'll go ahead and go with my story, and then we'll wrap.
Which is fine because this is episode 1 of the podcast. Not as I learned with shows.
The first one is
your episode 1 isn't going to look like your episode 100.
No. This is just a start, and I might reach out to someone.
I know that type of stuff because I was way too much of a completionist to
ever want to start anything.
Crippled of doing shows in the first place, but that's another story.
Hey, that's both of us. I covered that in the beginning. Like, it took me 5 years to ever want to stream because I was such a perfectionist. So, I get it. But I learned a while back that you have to start, and that's the important thing. So, I'm really happy that we're doing this. You learned that from me. I learned it from you, and then my buddy would share a bunch of TikToks with me on just starting things and getting things going and not waiting and failing forward. Like, it's a mindset thing, and I've been really working on that the last year and a half. Until then, I have this fear of.
There's a few people that say that line, and that's something that honestly I think a lot of CAW owners as well as just people in life need to learn.
Yeah.
You learn a lot more in failure than you do in successes.
Exactly. I could put on
failures are not stopping points. Failures are not dead ends. Failures are just ways to move forward.
Yeah. Okay. Look at it this way. I could be putting out one show a month, taking all my time, throwing all that effort into a show for 15 people to watch. Or...
Why are you talking about me?
Not you. I'm talking about myself. This was my plan. My plan 3 years ago was to do nothing but edited shows and do 12 shows a year.
I understood what I was doing.
But I could do that and not really grow my channel, but have an amazing show. That
again, why do you talk about me?
50 people will see. I'm not talking about you. Shut up. You do 2 shows a month, all right? That's different, and you like your shows. I'm not going to tell you how to do your thing. You do your thing the way you do. But I could be doing that. I know. I could be doing that. He's trolling me, by the way. He did this yesterday, and he got me really good yesterday. I was also drunk, but that's another story. Anyway. Shut up. Anyway, God damn it. I could be doing a show a month. I could be taking all my time, pouring time and effort into it, and having 5 people watch. Or I could do 2 shows a week. I could do a live show and an edited show at the same time, and that's what I'm doing. And what's up, Blaze? Welcome in.
Oh, what's up, Blaze?
Oh, man, 4 more hours. Dang. Whoo! That is crazy. Welcome in.
Yeah, the football stream.
Welcome in. So I'm getting to my final part, and that's how I build suspense in my shows. And I think my best example would probably it's probably going to be the I'd have to say my best example of building suspense in a show is 10 hours and 2 days. Damn, that's a lot. God, what's one of the best examples that I have? So I have a lot, but I think a good one would be the Jesus storyline. So it was my first time figuring out how to actually book a heel and actually have that finish at the end of the story. And the idea with Jesus de Violencia is, so he's based on my best friend, for one. He's a bodybuilding vegan who has a cult and is trying to, or who made millions of dollars selling coffee and has a cult. And he came in and he took over Octane Live. He took over the company 100%. It was all him. And the build up to that year's High Octane was a match between Delvin and him. No champion.
I remember this angle because, not to cut you off, but I remember this angle because you asked me a few times for advice, and most of the time I just said, "Do what your gut says." Because I wanted you to fly on your own and learn things on your own and trip, fall, and have your own successes with heels.
And I hit that one out of the park. People hated Jesus. I was like, yes, they don't like him. I'm doing a good job, because he was a jerk. He had his own commercial too that was on the show. So his commercial would play, and he would be in the back doing his commercial. I found the most annoying music to put under it. It lasted for like 3 minutes. It was great. It was like an American Phoenix entrance, except for it was a commercial. So we're gonna go to break, and it would go to his commercial, and you hear people in the audience going, "For fuck's sake!" They were literally typing FFS in the chat.
See, commenting on Phoenix's entrance, my heavens, we could me and freaking Samurai could talk about when worlds collide.
Yeah, but I had. That's actually a good example of building. That's a good example of building suspense for a match, because you want to see the guy get his ass kicked. But like, I did that with him too. I made people want Delvin to beat his ass. Blaze McRib.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but the match was freaking Danny versus American Phoenix. I think I had you record that there, odds.
Yeah, and I knew that Phoenix had never been seen by your audience.
So for
I knew
those,
Phoenix had never been, I knew Phoenix had never been seen by your audience. So
except for like a couple people, pretty much.
Except for a few. So I immediately at the start did the whole King of the Universe. Did the whole King of the Universe video.
I'm going to interrupt you.
That video and that song is like fucking 5 minutes.
I'm going to interrupt everybody real quick. Before you continue, I'm going to interrupt everybody real quick. I hate that song. Because when Odds was turning Phoenix heel, I was in a PlayStation party with him, and he played that song on loop for like 2 hours. And I finally went, "Can you turn that stupid song off?" Continue.
But yeah, because that's how I work. How I make cause and do stuff with cause, I play songs that remind me of that person or give me images of that character. Sometimes it's their theme on loop. Sometimes it's multiple songs that remind me of the character. It's a lot of things that give me an image of that cause. At the time, I was blind to the fact that I didn't realize that I don't think I ever told anyone that I do that. So Beetle learned the hard way that I listened to some music on loop to get a idea flowing when it comes to making calls.
Yep.
But yeah, the song is like fucking 5 minutes. And then afterwards, then I start the speech.
The fucking speech.
Which is another like half a minute.
I think we both were acting like we're both acting like we want to just put our freaking heads through the monitor.
Yeah, you added that one when you first saw it. I'm like, can we both say we want to kill him? I'm like, yes.
Dang it, I had to get away. So close, please.
Like, I think I said, can I say that I want to kick his ass? You're like, sure, Go for it.
Yeah, because I'm like, sure, go for it. I'm going to do the same thing.
I did not realize I had that muted.
God damn it! This man has a media entrance for a little freaking like crossover show.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a hell yeah!
It was so much fun.
There you go, Blaze.
People in the audience, people that didn't even know American Phoenix, immediately hated him.
Except for one person who, ironically enough, gets screwed over by him much later. I was like, of course Paredes likes him, because he's a dick.
But back to your story, Beetle.
Oh,
sorry for the side tangent.
No, it's fine, because that was like one of the best examples of it. Mine was Jesus. He took over the company. He was pretty much holding the title hostage. Delvin was banned from the arena. There was so much that I threw into it to try and make it, make you want to see him get his ass kicked. I wanted people to see Delvin kick his ass. Like that was the goal. And how can I do that? He's going to take over his company. The main event, the title wasn't even a thing. No, I think Jesus did have the belt. So Delvin's a former heavyweight champion. Holy shit. Because Delvin beat him. That was the whole point. The point was for Delvin to beat him. So it was Delvin versus Jesus.
I think Jesus may have lost the belt before Delvin beat him.
Oh, that's right. He lost the belt to Zach or someone else. It was probably Zach. Or Demolition. Demolition. Yeah, it was Demolition.
Yeah, it was either Zach or Demolition.
Jesus loses the belt to Demolition the night or like the week before he's supposed to challenge Delvin. So Delvin never had the title. Because the whole idea of the storyline I'm doing right now is that Delvin never held the world title. He held the world cruiserweight title, but he never held the world heavyweight title or the undisputed title.
In Octane, yes. In his own show, he is a former world champion in CPW, but he has never held the big one at home ever. So that was like him turning heel and him screwing over Kyle and stealing the belt. Honestly, that's a more common storyline around here than some people may think.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Kyle. You kind of get screwed a lot in storylines.
Yeah, literally.
But I mean, with our friends group, there are some CAWs that will win championships all over the place. Live shows, never lose a match. Then they come home and they can't win a match to save their lives.
Yeah, and that's how Delvin was for the last like 2 or 3 years. He needed that belt, in my opinion. He needed it. I could send him anywhere. He'll do amazing wherever he goes. But at home, I couldn't get him to win a match to save my freaking life. Yep, it is Kyle, Odds, and myself.
Welcome to the Let's Talk CAW Shop Podcast.
Very, very long name for a title, but a lot of other names were already taken, and Odds came up with this one on the fly, and I really like it. So,
and we go with what Beetle likes.
Well, we all liked it, so it worked. But yeah, that was my building suspense. You know, have the heel screw over the baby face. I'm hoping. I like putting the baby face in what's the best phrase? You heard of the Horsemen? Now we have Kyle, Odds, and Beat, the three farcemen.
Oh wait, no,
God,
please. That's how it should go. It should go Kyle, Odds, and Beat, the 3 Farsketeers.
Gosh dang it. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So I've got
all for one and one for all.
Yeah.
Watch your pants before you fall.
the 3 Cosketeers. That sounds kind of morbid. At least it's not October.
3 Cosketeers.
Sounds like casket. I mean, crows caw. Crows are bad. Casket. Ha. Anyway,
Only almost looks like it's saying cost skaters.
Cost skaters, yeah, we skate, you know. Yeah.
Or-
on our roller skates, yes.
Yeah,
So
we make.
It's actually a roller rink around the ring. They just go in circles.
Yeah,
like
all three of us make characters in freaking Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
It's like that skateboard game in Fight Forever. They just go around the ring in a big circle. whoever does 10 laps first wins. Going back to my racing roots there. My biggest thing when I'm building suspense is I have the baby face taking most of the damage or taking more from the heel. So I like having the heel go over until that climax. So with
or pretty much AKA
yeah.
What has made wrestling successful for over 150 years.
Yeah. With Kyle's storyline when he was facing Phoenix, for instance. You had done a lot of the heavy lifting for me, so I didn't have to do as much. And
because that's what the heel's for.
Yeah, and we have a lot of the same viewers, I think. So we have a very similar audience, and a lot of my audience knows Phoenix. So it was easy to have him come in, be the champion. He was champion for 3 months, and the entire time he was champion, it was him versus Kyle. I went back and looked at it. All the feuds I did were in that feud were Phoenix versus Kyle. That was it. It was those two. No one else challenged Phoenix for the belt other than Kyle, but Phoenix screwed him out of it at Fallout. He screwed him out of it again at another pay-per-view. And then they finally meet at Stars and Stripes, the MXT branded Stars and Stripes episode that I did. And that's when Kyle finally beat Phoenix. And I made it look like Phoenix was going to retain that entire match too. And that was the point. The point was make it look like Phoenix is going to get away with it. And then at the very end, Kyle caught him, and that was it. It was just like, yes!
Yeah. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. Heels are supposed to carry the load of the whole entire angle.
It's what makes
because the babyface is supposed to be the one that's reacting to what the heel's doing.
Right.
That dynamic has been what has made real life wrestling successful for 150 years, for over 150 years, which is why it's been around for so damn long.
Yeah, and that's what
because it comes down to it, it's good versus evil, and you always want to see the good guy go over the bad guy in the end.
But you can't do it too soon. If you do it too soon, if you have the good guy go over the bad guy, and they haven't gotten to that big match, then you've already ruined the story.
Yeah,
like, you've already spoiled it because the good guy has now already beaten your big bad heel, and right now Delvin is supposed to be the big bad heel. You know?
Yeah, in a lot of ways, when it comes to that, because I know a question like that would come up of, well, how do you know what time it is to drop the belt? You have to listen. You have to listen. You have to feel it yourself, and you have to try to take what your fans are saying. Are they booing your heel because they want to see him eventually get his ass kicked? Or are they booing your heel because they want this heel to go away and never come back?
Yep.
If it's go away and never come back, then you've lost the plot and you've lost your chance.
Yep. But if they're booing him,
you can't go over that threshold.
Exactly.
And it's a balance. It's a balance that sometimes we do not succeed in doing correctly. But when we do, it works. It's all about experience. And I think all three of us will agree, we're not actually in the wrestling business. We're not real bookers. We don't actually know what the hell we're doing.
Exactly.
We're just telling the stories how we see.
Yeah. I learned the stuff that I've learned are from people that are actually bookers. Listening to people like Cornette, listening to wrestling minds like the late Gary Hart, listening to people that actually are bookers, were bookers, knew what the hell they were doing, and did this for a living and made money doing it. And taking that and using that type of stuff for our little bitty shows that for the most part isn't gonna ever pay us anything. And we're fine with that. That's why this is a hobby.
That's why I have a day job.
Exactly. That's why we all have a day job.
So why do we have a day job? No. But yeah. For me, I like having that baby face in peril. That's my thing. Baby face in peril, big bad.
Yeah, because you've listened to me for so long.
No, it's because that's how I've seen it happen on in real shows. And I would go back and I would watch old territory stuff too, and that's how they book their faces and heels. The heel somehow always on the lead up to the event figures out a way to cheat the good guy out of it. If the good guy does go over on the heel has to somehow have a way to build suspense. So whether
have a hype,
an attack or something,
reason to come back.
Yeah, give the good guy that just went over on the heel a reason to go after him, right? So
and that stuff is not new.
No,
that stuff is never new.
It's old, old tricks.
That's why I listen to people that are wrestling historians, people that have done booking, because that's literally all they're doing. They're doing stuff that they learned, and that the people that taught them learned from the person before them, and et cetera, et cetera. Things and ideas that have been around for over 150 years and still work to this day, and they work for a reason.
So,
because we still have those same feelings of we want to see the good guy succeed.
Right. So, not to cut you off, but I have one final question, and it's going to be for both of you. Samurai, I'll let you go first, and then Odds, it'll be your turn. So the question that I have for both of you, because we're talking about building suspense, and we've talked about how to build suspense between a face and a heel. How, Samurai, would you build suspense between two baby faces? So let's say you have two of your top baby faces, and they're both going to be challenging for the world title. How do you go about, like, what is your thought process going into this, thinking you have two baby faces and they're going to be facing off for the world title? You have three shows to build suspense for your big show. How do you do it?
All right. So I have 3 shows to build. All right.
Yep.
I would personally have it where pretty much, like, for both baby faces, it's just more like just ramping up the tension a bit. Like, I would say maybe it starts friendly at first. Then maybe start kind of teasing the idea that both really, really want this title. And depending on what the characters are, you kind of add the extra elements to that. Like, if they're friends, what's more important to them? Is it the world title or is it their friendship?
Okay.
I mean, I'll probably even have them like in a tag match and that, so it's like pretty much that whole, oh, can they coexist? And they do, but then it's like that whole
tension.
Like probably after like a matchup, they like shake hands. Other than tugs at one and Titan pretty much just like looks him right in the eye.
Okay.
You know the cutscene I'm talking about, right?
Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about. Pulls him right in, stares at him in the eyes, is like the tension builder for a match.
Yeah.
It's like these two big baby faces are going to finally face off against each other. We've never seen these guys fight. Okay.
Keep them away from each other or keep them on the same side until the actual event comes. So
yeah. That's a good example. That's a good example. All right. Odds: 2 baby faces, 3 weeks of build up, 1 big event. How do you build suspense heading into your big show between your 2 baby faces?
Quite interesting, since I've done this one before. If anyone remembers,
Okay.
2020 Starcade 2020. Go back and look.
All right.
Benjamin Knight, the CPW World's Heavyweight Champion, having a record reign of a year and 2 months, or 453 days, facing off against the new up and comer, the guy that just beat Chris Knight in under 5 minutes, Jason Sawyer. 2 baby faces. Those two baby faces, they talked their stuff. They said they were what they were going to do. Even in the lead up, have a little bit of a misunderstanding. Have some misunderstanding happen. Have some shenanigans happen. Some misunderstanding to make them more at odds with each other.
No pun intended.
Leading up into the match, leading up for the title, and then boom, have your match. You don't want to have a lot of babyface versus babyface matches, but if you're going to, you have to give them a reason to fight. Give them some type of misunderstanding that the audience will know. Hey, that's just a complete misunderstanding. He's not there. That guy's not really mad at him. Well, yeah. So the audience understands that. And so when they get into the match, there's tension there. But since they're 2 baby faces, they'll shake hands and respect each other. Or if one's going to turn heel, one of them stabs the other in the back.
Okay.
They can go either way.
All right. Man, you guys had really good examples. You're gonna love mine. It's super complex.
Oh boy.
No, mine is not complex at all. Actually, that was sarcasm. My build-up was literally just gonna be, have two guys fight each other 3 times in the build-up. I would ideally know who was gonna win the match, whether it was the champion or the challenger, right? Having be 2 baby faces, one being the champion, one being the challenger. They fight 3 times in the lead up to the event. 2 of those times, one of the guys wins. The other time, the other one won. Going into the match, he's got 2 wins. He's got one who has a better chance at winning, and then they fight. And of course, the guy with the 1 win gets his other win, and they're tied, and he's now the champion, which ultimately could lead to a heel turn in the future for the loser, or for the winner, depending on how he wins that last match, and a follow-up feud between the 2 of them later on. That would have been mine. Really simple. You win, and then you win at the pay-per-view, and depending on how you win, you guys either shake hands or the feud continues. I got crickets from these guys.
No wonder why I was seeing you smile while you were talking, because you were going to have the shortest one.
Of course. That's why I asked the question.
He put us on the spot.
Like I'm not freaking watching this damn thing, sitting over here as I'm talking. You're smirking. You're smirking like a Cheshire.
I was smirking because I was like, I have the shortest version out of all of us. So
that's what I just said.
yeah,
That's what I just said.
Mine-
I knew you're going to have the shortest. I had a funny feeling you had something up your sleeve, which is probably the short.
well, to me,
Field is the shortest one.
I'm the biggest amateur out of all three of us when it comes to this kind of stuff. So that's why I wanted to ask that question, because it was like, how would someone build two baby faces against each other? Because I've always done the baby face and the heel, and if I have two baby faces fighting, it's a match, and that's it. It's just a match on the card. I don't even build for it. I'm just like, these guys are going to be fighting. You know, I don't even mention that their faces are heels. I'm just like, they're fighting. But now I'm
big baby faces versus baby faces are normally not done.
Yeah.
It's why things like Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior and stuff like that are rarely ever done. And if there is, it always leads to some heel turn in an actual wrestling ring, not a WWE, not WWE's era with Hogan.
Well, and that's
no one would turn heel except on Hogan.
That's one of the things that I love about having these types of conversations is we can ask those difficult questions of like, how would you book this? Two heels, that would be another one of those. They would just screw each other over the entire time. You know, it depends on who, how far up on the card is one heel to the other. Yeah.
And it depends on who's the bigger heel than the other, because one is going to obviously have to be the babyface heel, where it's like, yeah, he's a scumbag, but he's our scumbag, and we'll side with him because he's our scumbag.
Oh, I have, yeah. I've got I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I've got. Hey, Ramsey, welcome back. I've got quite the challenge coming up. For one of the feuds that I'm doing, because it might actually, if I'm not careful, I can screw up one of my heels and in the process turn them face. So I may not even run that feud yet, but I had a feud in mind, and I'm like, I don't know if I should do it yet or not, because I might turn my big heel baby face by accident, and I don't want to do that. So
yeah. The biggest thing that I go for with my show is a simple line in the sand, a simple statement on baby faces versus heels that Cornette that is one of Cornette's quotes.
Okay.
A heel is a baby face. The heel is supposed to do that baby face wrong.
And then put them over.
Beat them up and do criminal methods.
Mm-hmm.
Beat up the baby face, whatever. Use criminal methods, and the baby face finds a way to overcome the odds and prevail in the end.
Yep. And that's what I did with the Kyle feud. You know,
hell, if you look back at the recent Starrcade, that's how I booked.
Yep.
Linus versus Catherine.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine was injured. Oh, how could Catherine survive? Catherine's the underdog. Catherine's been fucked over. Her knees bust. Her knees hurt. She's bruised. She's hurt. She's beaten up.
Yep.
How can she cash in? How could she still cash in? She does cash in. Oh my gosh, is she gonna lose? Everyone thought Linus was gonna win. Boom. She hits her finish. 1, 2, 3.
Yo, what's up, Mac? Welcome in.
Yo, what's up, bro, Mac?
Hey.
And it went from something that people thought, oh yeah, Catherine was gonna walk out as champion. Everyone knows that. That's so easy to wow. I'm actually surprised that she managed to somehow survive that.
Yep. Let's see.
I was able to convert, I was able to switch expectations around.
And so you guys know the two channels for the gentleman that I am talking to today. I went ahead and dropped their channels in the chat. Odds and Samurai. For anybody who doesn't know. Oh. Thank you, sir. It's much appreciated. It's much appreciated. I just figured I'd go ahead and share out your guys' channels. You guys can check them out on YouTube. I'm not going to keep us on much longer because we are in the 3 o'clock hour, and I know that a certain Q is most likely going to be doing BMH. He usually goes live and within the next hour, so
About an hour.
yeah. So I figure we don't want to take it too long.
And don't worry, folks. We'll be doing this We'll be doing it regularly.
We'll try and be back. I can't guarantee next weekend because I have High Octane, and it's a 2-night event. But I can't
guarantee anything, but we will be probably
2 weeks.
We may try to see what schedule we can do. Maybe we can make this bi-weekly.
For now, I say we do it bi-monthly, which is every 2 weeks. So every other week we'll do a show or one of these. So in 2 weeks we'll be back with the next episode. But I think this is a pretty good time to go ahead and wrap up. We've kind of covered all the points we wanted to cover today. What do you guys think?
Maybe it's about time to wrap it up because we can break for
lunch,
for food stuff before Q starts streaming in about an hour.
Yep. All right. Well, everybody, I want to thank you all for tuning in for our first episode of the Let's Talk CAW Shop podcast. I'm gonna get better at saying that. It's episode 1. We did our introductions. You know who we are now. We will be back in 2 weeks with our next episode, and I'll try and give you guys an update on what that's going to be about during High Octane.
And if you haven't yet, please drop a like and to see more stuff like this, and we'll be back with episode 2 in 2 weeks.
Yep. All right. And on that note, everybody, thank you for stopping by. This stream is... Do you guys want to help me with this one? This stream is...
Yep.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.